Hi there, traders. This is Brad Gilbert with the FX Market Insight for Wednesday, the 10th of April. All right, now a little bit more excitement as we go into the 10th with this being a major trading day for the week, as far as I can tell. And this comes down to the major releases that we're expecting. Now, just looking at today's market conditions, okay, majors are still drifting sideways, which is not ideal. You'd love to have them with a bit more of a clearer picture. If anything, the Kiwis hanging on to a bit of a bearish sort of technical and fundamental outlook, and that's probably the pair I'll be looking at very closely. The core market drivers, once again, we've still got Brexit and this situation with China and the US still continuing. So that's not a good thing for us either. All right, but what is good is we do have a bunch of releases here that are going to give us some potential opportunities. Now, UK GDP numbers, well, you know what? Normal market conditions, this would be a really good opportunity. But with Brexit in its final couple of days before the sort of second potential Brexit, I know UK PM May is going to ask for another extension, but we'll see how that goes. So this GDP number may get overlooked. So I'm just going to put a line through that at the moment, as it's not a major focus coming into the next 24 hours. Now, what does come into play big time is obviously the ECB. Okay, this is obviously the biggest event for the euro, and you want to keep a close eye on what Draghi's talking about. Now, growth has been falling. The German numbers have been falling. I wouldn't be surprised to see them launch, well, this is a bit of a hard one, but launch some sort of new QE ahead of a Brexit deal, though. Is that possible? I'm not totally sure. So we may have to wait, and we may just see some more sort of dovish comments from Draghi, which may sort of push the euro down. If we don't get any of those extra dovish comments from Draghi, the ECB president, then we may see euro start to short squeeze to the top side. Now, where I think you want to really be focusing your attention very clearly is on the US CPI numbers. Now, this is coming ahead of the FOMC minutes, but the CPI number, one big number, it's either better or worse or as expected. Now, that should give us a potential opportunity and potentially give these major currency pairs, let me just clear the screen there, give these major currency pairs direction, even if it's only short-term direction. What we're looking for is something to get our teeth into. Now, what you're looking for is some sort of level of variance, and that'll determine how far these currencies move. But Kiwi with the sort of bearish outlook is probably the key pair for me to be looking at coming into this. The FOMC minutes, of course, this is important. It gives us a bigger chance to have a look at or a deeper look into the FOMC meeting. I don't expect any surprises, but it is well worth keeping a very close eye on that as we go into this, the 10th of April. So that's it from me as far as the major opportunities go. Now, ECB, there's no chance of a change in rates. So this event is going to be very tricky and a little bit muddled. We may get more answers in the press conference than we do out of the actual interest rate decision and statement itself. So just make sure you're aware of that as you come into trading that European session. Once again, the US CPI number being one big round number, it's going to be easy for traders to interpret and trade on that. So that's where the major focus is going forward. Now, I'll just give you a look at the charts. I mean, there's not much to look at. This is a bit of Groundhog Day from the last week or the last couple of months. Once again, the major currencies just trading sideways. Aussie, a little bit of a topside exploration as the housing finance numbers sort of bounced back into the positive. No major move there. Kiwi sort of drifting sideways with no momentum either from the Kiwi or the US dollar. Now, dollar yen just drifting to the downside. Some machinery orders out of Japan bounced, but they're still not as strong as they were. I think the market's just fatigued and just drifting lower as we move closer to the US CPI numbers. Probably a little bit of profit taking. Now, the euro, this is obviously going to be a major pair to look at as we come into the ECB meeting. Pretty much just trading sideways at the moment. Just be aware there's a lot of room on the top side for this to pop up to like 140 points towards resistance around 114 if there's no dovish comments. We really have to wait and see, as I said, and it's with no interest rate decision pending. It's a pretty muddled event. Sterling, well, it's just banging away in a big range sideways. It's choppy as hell. Pretty hard to work out what's going on there. And the loonie, okay, dollar CAD definitely trading as a lunatic. Oil back still above $64, but the currency, back up into the middle of the range there. Very hard to pick where dollar CAD is going at the moment with so many variables pulling it left, right, and centre. And that's pretty much it for me. As far as the news goes, just a quick one on that. There's rumbles here that Trump, once again, trying to deflect attention from himself, is potentially sort of picking fights with the Eurozone, looking at adding tariffs to these guys as well. And obviously the talks with China continuing as well. So once again, geopolitics making this a little bit slower than usual and a little bit trickier. So make sure you are following the key events because that's where the activity is going to come in, and you can actually see which currency pairs it's going to impact across the board. So sterling, euro, and the rest of the majors all in play with that US CPI. That's it from me, guys. Any questions, jump in the 247 trade zone. Have a good trade day. Cheerio.